Step one, wake up early, gonna rise with the sun. Step two, get some good, some food in you. Step three, think real hard about what you wanna be. Step four, fuck everybody, just do your thing.
Wake up, today's gonna be a good day. 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 Wake up, today's gonna be a good day.
Good morning, and welcome to Good Morning Crypto, where we turn your early hours in the morning into your edge and financial freedom. Today, I've got a few headlines. One of them is going to be about Trump's announcement of a ceasefire between Iran and Israel last night. We'll dive into that one a little bit further in a second. I've also got a headline about Anthony Pompliano and a Bitcoin reserve company that he is going to be making here soon. Looks like he's going to be following that Michael Saylor strategy. We will get into that in just a second though. First, let's get you prepped for some success today. Like always, I got that stock heat map pulled up for you. We're seeing a little bit of green in the pre-market right now. We've got Apple sitting up 0.25% off of its close, looking towards the upside this morning, 1.44%. We've got Nvidia sitting up 0.22, and in the pre-market, looking up 1.11 right now. Berkshire Hathaway also seeing some green in the pre-market right now, up 0.6 off of its close and up 0.55 in the pre-market. We've got Amazon closing to the downside yesterday, down 0.58, but looking green this morning, up 1.75%. We've got Eli Lilly closing to the upside last night, 1.04%, looking towards the upside this morning as well, up 0.83%. We've got ExxonMobil closing to the downside and opening to the downside this morning, down 2.58%, and continuing to see the sell-off this morning, down 1.32%. We've got Tesla looking massively towards the upside yesterday, up 8.23%. Also continuing to seeing that buying pressure into the morning, up 2.6%. We're also seeing some green on PNG, closed 1.23% towards the upside. And in the pre-market, just seeing some light buying pressure for now, up 0.19%. We've got Microsoft up 1.8% off of its close, continuing to see that buying pressure this morning, up 0.83%. We've got Google closing to the downside yesterday, 1.03%. Seeing all of those losses taken away this morning though, up 1.38% so far. We've also got Meta closing towards the upside, 2.37%. Seeing that buying pressure continue into this morning, up 0.93%. For the crypto side of things, looking pretty green there as well. A lot of green bubbles in this top 25. Scrolling on down, we've got Bitcoin up 3.7%, Ethereum up 7.4%, XRP up 8.8%, BNB sitting up 3%. We've got Solana up 7.4%, Tron sitting up 1.8%, Doge up 7%, Cardano up 6.8%. We'll talk about that one here in just a second because we looked at Cardano last night on HODL the Line. Ada Ace was that guest. If you didn't get to see that episode last night, go ahead, give it a rewatch, check it on out. We got Hyperliquid up 4%. We've got SWI taking a spot from Bitcoin Cash in that market cap, up 11.5%. Bitcoin Cash sitting up 1.7%. We've got Chainlink taking a spot from Leo token in that market cap, up 10.8% right now, while Leo token is up 0.6%. We've also got Stellar Lumens taking a spot from Avalanche in that market cap, up 6.8%, while Avalanche is up 5.8%. We've got TON sitting up 5.5%, Shiba Inu up 8.5%, and Litecoin up 4.6%. Keeping that number 20 spot from HBAR. For the fear and greeds, we're still sitting on that neutral side of things for, oh, nope, just outside of that neutral range for the stock side. Just sitting in some light greed by 1 point. For the crypto side of things, we're up 18 points, sitting in some light greed right now from that neutral range yesterday back to 65 and greed after that nice move back up to grab some of that top side liquidity we had talked about yesterday. Looking at this liquidation heat map, we do have some liquidity residing directly above us right now. Going to be that 106,800 point. We'll kind of take a look at that Bitcoin chart in a second. We do have some liquidity on the top side as well for this 3-day. Just a light zone sitting at that same area, 106,800. Zooming on out a little bit further. 1 week looking quite similar, 106,500 there, ranging all the way up to that 107, and the 2 week looking quite the same with that nice little hotspot directly above us at that 106,800 and looking quite bare towards the top side of that. Let's hop over to that economic calendar because we do have quite a bit going on today. Nothing super heavy on the data. Let's scroll it on down, get to that data. There we go. We've got some housing data coming out at 9 a.m. Eastern Time. Going to be that S&P Case-Shiller home prices month over month and year over year, with the housing price index looking like a continued slowdown for that one. Was sitting at 4.1% on that year over year, looking like a slight slowdown to 4%. That is what is forecasted. The big market movers for today is going to be some Fed speech. We've got at 9:15 Eastern Time, Fed Hammock speaking. Scrolling on down just a little bit further, we get that CB consumer confidence looking a little bit towards the upside there. At that same time, 10 a.m. Eastern Time, we'll be getting a speech from Fed Chair Jerome Powell. This will be the big market mover for today. Scroll it on down just a little bit further, 12:30 Eastern Time, Fed Williams speech. Scroll on down a little bit further, Fed Kashari speaking at 1:45 Eastern Time. At 2:05 Eastern Time, we'll be getting Fed Collins speech, and at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, we'll be getting a speech from Fed Barr. The big mover for that Asia trading time zone is going to be that Bank of Japan summary of opinions. I'll be watching that one because they're sitting in that area where they could potentially start looking at another rate hike. I would like to see what they are looking at for that expectations to hit those rate hike that rate hike decision. Scrolled on down, getting into tomorrow, we also have another speech from Jerome Powell at 10 Eastern Time with new home sales looking like a bit of a decrease on those home sales tomorrow as well. This will be a big market mover for tomorrow. Going to be a lot of posturing for today and tomorrow for Thursday's data drop, because Thursday's data drop, scrolling on down, we get a lot of data. We have durable goods month over month, year over year, durable goods, excluding defense month over month, excluding auto month over month, durable goods orders month over month, GDP growth rate quarter over quarter final, and that's going to be that big market mover, looking like a massive decrease on that forecast from positive 2.4% to negative 0.2%. So a massive slowdown on the GDP growth rate. We also get initial jobless claims on Thursday as well. So expect a lot of posturing the next couple of days for this big data drop. Let's get over to that Bitcoin chart. Say good morning to the chat. We've got Kyle Fields first in here saying good morning. Good morning to you. we've got K Diggity in here saying BC, 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 dropping that coffee cup. Well, cheers to you on that. Good morning, K Diggity. We've got Mark Dutch in here saying morning, all you handsome fib dancers, and K Diggity. Good morning to you, Mark Dutch. And we've got Jay Violet in the chat. Good evening to you, madam. What about non-durable goods? Like things that break halfway through the first use, like Chinese products, for example. We also get that one on Thursday as well. I was not looking at that quite as heavily since we have that GDP growth rate. We have those durable goods. Those are going to be what people kind of focus on a little bit more. The non-durable goods are playing a little less of an impact on that market mover right now, especially since people are kind of cutting back just a little bit. You have been seeing a lot of inflation pressures forcing people to kind of focus on what they actually need to buy, and that durable goods is going to play a bit of a bigger impact there. We will watch those non-durable goods though, because been seeing some interesting things there. A bit of a slowdown, which is not too unexpected considering we have been seeing that slowdown of Chinese goods coming into the market. Let's take a look at this Bitcoin on the daily, because we are seeing just a slight bit of hopium here as that MACD gets that move back towards that zero line here, looking at a potential for some upside if we can break that $106,000 mark. That's where we were talking about potentially seeing some resistance, and that's where we see these nice little wick in action coming off of. That's going to be that $106,000 mark, nice psychological level. That's where we started seeing some resistance last night. We do have that prime oscillator also getting that curvature towards the upside, but that money flow is the big worry right now. Your volume's still extremely low and has been decreasing for quite a while, and that money flow's holding right above the zero line, still in the positive for now, but we continue to make lower highs, and we've made our next lower low here, waiting to really see if we can break that 106 mark and potentially break some trend here. If not, look at that summer lull and some sideways movement heading our way. We do have 106 as some strong resistance for the daily, looking to see if we can break that on a shorter term time frame and really see some money flow coming on in here. We do have this fair value gap, which is still open. We got very close to the bottom here, and we've got that bottom side coming in at 97,800. That's that price point I was looking for. I got some limit orders set down there, still looking at potentially sweeping to the bottom side there, waiting for that sweep of top side liquidity first though. Scroll this on into that 1 hour. 1 hour looking quite similar here, quite toppy as we get that curve roll over back here towards our indicator line, waiting to see if we break that or if we get a nice little bounce off of that indicator line here this morning. We do have your money flow still in the green, volume holding quite nicely here, but MACD pointing down, getting a little bit of sideways momentum here, so we're really going to have to watch this short-term time frame money flow. We do have some liquidity which is residing directly above us at that $106,000 mark. So seeing us bump up against some resistance here this morning would not be too unexpected as we try to see how people are going to posture for Thursday's heavy data drop. That's going to be the big market mover for this week, looking like a massive slowdown on that GDP might push us just a little bit lower, so we would want to see if that price is going to remain high, at least get some sideways momentum up towards resistance, so people can really make those make that money on shorting. Let's scroll it on in to that 15-minute. Take a look at what we'd be looking at for the morning. Looking like some continued sideways momentum here. You've got your MACD cooling off quite nicely, remaining above the zero line, but it is getting that curve back down. We are seeing money flow still in the green here, but looking like it could be breaking into the selling pressure if we continue to see that exhaustion coming on in as we continue to bump up against $106,000. We are seeing that prime oscillator also getting that curvature back down for the morning as our volume continues to decrease here as well. Kind of waiting to see what happens at market open and to see what other news we get on our Middle East conflict. Do we have any alt requests for the day? If so, go ahead, drop them in the chat for me. Got plenty of time to take a look at those. I got those 2 news articles I'd like to talk about, and then we can look at all the assets. I see Sullied Corn Mafia in here. Good morning to you. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Let's hop over to those news articles. Here's that first one I was talking about. We got Trump's ceasefire plan falters as Israel says Iran launched more missiles and pledges a response. Scrolling on down, a tentative truce proposed by Donald Trump hung in the balance as Israel said Iran had launched missiles into its airspace less than 3 hours after a ceasefire went into effect and vowed to retaliate. Not too unexpected here. Seeing that that really early announcement of a ceasefire, the same way that Trump announced, "Oh, we got to deal with China," before any deal was really cemented. Really trying to get people to calm down here as he's trying to work on that ceasefire deal. We do see some retaliation potentially heading our way with Israel launching back at Iran last night. So a lot of confusion after this ceasefire announcement. We'll kind of have to watch to see how markets price this in. We didn't see a whole lot of pricing in being done yesterday. Some light sell off on Monday, and then some buying happened on Tuesday. So we'll kind of have to keep our eye on that for the morning. We do have some selling on the weekend for the crypto side of things. We did see a little bit of some sell off and then some buying at the end of the day, but we'll kind of have to watch how things go into this Tuesday. Anthony Pompliano on that secondary news is looking to strike a deal to create a publicly traded Bitcoin treasury company, trying to follow in Michael Saylor's footsteps here. Crypto investor and financial influencer Anthony Pompliano's Bitcoin native financial services company has made plans to go public via a special purpose acquisition company. ProCap BTC will merge with Columbus Circle Capital Corp, a SPAC affiliated with financial services firm Cohen and Company, according to a statement from Columbus Circle on Monday. As part of the agreement, the new company formed through the merger, ProCap Financial, will be headed by Pompliano and establish a treasury with up to $1 billion in Bitcoin once the merger closes. So just another company trying to follow in that Saylor strategy, offering some leverage on Bitcoin's price action. I will be following that one closely, and we'll kind of have to see how it goes forward. It takes a little bit of time to merge a company with another one, and we won't be seeing that buying actually happening anytime soon. On another note, Michael Saylor bought more Bitcoin, so looking to lower that price just a little bit. He bought down here below $100,000, so one of his not buying the top situations. I know it's a serious situation, but they definitely sound like a tattletale, says Kyle Fields. With the Israel-Iran conflict, there's been a lot going back and forth. We'll kind of have to see if we can actually get a deal hammered out today. I know Qatar, as much as everyone was talking, is really doing some effort to cement a deal there. We'll kind of have to see if any progress gets made on that deal today. I was taking a look at gold. Gold saw a little bit of some sell off as the stock market really saw some upside momentum at the end of the day. We did break below that 236, and we're looking just a little bit lower here. Hourly continuing to the downside for the MACD. You do have a reversal signal that has flashed on the prime oscillator, but it's getting a little bit of some rollover here as that money flow looks to break into the red. Your volume has slowed down quite a bit on gold and potentially looking for some bouncing action back here in our CME gap, where all of our lows come in at about $3,300. Nice psychological level to see some bouncing. If we don't hold that, I would look back down towards our 382 and $3,250. Nice little bouncing point for gold if we're unable to maintain the mid-range of this sideways momentum that we've been seeing. It is kind of that midline where we have the top side being where we pulled the top side of our fib retracement and the bottom side being that 50% fib line where we've seen a lot of support. Waiting to really see how the news opens for this morning, though. That's going to be that big market mover, and we're going to see a lot of posturing for our data drop on Thursday. So a lot going into effect. I did say I wanted to take a look at ADA. I don't see any alt requests for now. Go ahead, drop anything in the chat for me. We can take a look at it this morning. Let me get that ADA pulled up, because we did talk about yesterday wanting to see that bounce down here at 51 cents and then turning that platinum pocket back into some support. That's pretty much what happened yesterday. Let's scroll this on out to that hourly look and see what we're looking at for the day here. We do see that nice little cool down here on our prime oscillator, but we're starting to see that curve back up. MACD also looking like it's about to break to the bottom side of our indicator line here. Just briefly, I did talk last night on HODL the line about potentially seeing that move back down to 57 cents. That's still kind of what I got my eye on. That was a nice support area to kind of watch for before we got that nice little move back down to 51 cents. We did see that nice quick bounce in action off of it before we really lost all of those levels. Looking at least confirm this back as some support midline of our fair value gap there as well. So looking to see if we get that bounce at 57 cents to make our way back up towards 62 cents here. Let's take a look at that 15-minute and the morning, because the 15-minute and the morning also looking like a little more cool down needs to happen, and that's why I'd really look back down to 57 cents there. You can kind of see that being the midline of that fair value gap there a little bit better as well. We've got that MACD moving sideways on top of our zero line, really waiting to see what happens with money flow in the morning. Prime oscillator got a hidden divergence and is seeing a little bit of some rollover here as your volume has slowed down quite heavily. So waiting to really see if we get that money flow coming back in here at 57 cents and then making our way back up. If we do lose 57 cents, platinum pocket is looking quite strong for some support. It's where we got this really strong push off of and then made our way to the upside with some strength and some money flow there. So really waiting to see what happens at that midline of the fair value gap. Let's see. Nope, not seeing any alt requests. Let me move that from top chat to live chat, see if we got anything there. Not looking like anything. All right. Well, let's take a look at a few of the stocks that I've been following. We do have Circle making its way to that 2618 like we talked about yesterday. We did see that being a very strong resistance point, and afterwards we talked about the potential to come back into our CME gap. We do have that nice strong bouncing action off of the 236 there on our fib retracement. We pulled that from back here at the lows, and then we assumed that that 2618 was going to be the high where we'd see a little bit of resistance, and that's exactly what happened for yesterday. Now looking all the way back down towards that 236 to see if we can get back down there and turn it into some support, or if we're going to lose that and close our CME gap here. We do have a big CME gap here starting at that 236 and $232. We also have that golden pocket for that extension for the 1618 coming at $222. So a little bit of a range to the downside that I would potentially look at some bouncing action on if we continue to see us make lower highs here. We are making some higher highs right now, but making lower highs on that top side. So really seeing some constriction of that price, and I'd watch for the break to the downside with how much this liquidity has slowed down here. You got your money flow potentially at that point where it could break into some selling pressure. You got a lot of people who are sitting massively in the green on Circle, so seeing some slowdown on that price and some profit taking is not too unexpected. If we do break back down towards that CME gap and don't hold up some of those key levels I just talked about, that 382 and $195 is looking like a nice area to potentially see some support at. I would maybe be buying in at those price points. We'd kind of have to see if that would be our support level or not. You've got that MACD getting some continued rollover here, and prime oscillator the same, as volume has slowed up quite a bit here on Circle. So really waiting to see what the morning brings our way. We've got that pre-market opening up extremely to the downside on Circle, unlike the rest of the stock market that we were looking at. Let's scroll on down here, get over to where was it? I believe it was in energy. Nope. Yep. SMR. I've been talking about SMR for a while now. Get this on out. Looking back down towards the top side of this old fib retracement here. This is pulled. Let me get that zoomed back out to the 4 hour. Here we go. We've got this nice pulling from the bottom side to our old top side there. Waiting to see if we come retest the top side of that fib retracement. That's going to be $32.16. We do have a nice little bounce in action that happened off of that last time. Really waiting to see if we're going to continue that trend towards the downside, as this 4 hour looks extremely overheated. Zooming on in there. We've got that MACD rolling on over here, and breaking to the downside of our indicator line, as money flow is making a lower high here and getting some rollover, and your volume has slowed up quite a bit. You do have some divergences that have stacked up here as well, so really waiting to see if we break a little bit further to the downside. We are opening above our close in the pre-market, seeing a nice little move towards the upside, but could see that continuation to the downside with how much that money flow has been slowing on down, and volume has been slowing on down too. Taking a look at that 15-minute, looking a little bit overheated here, as we've started making lower highs on our prime oscillator and have been seeing that money flow in the red. As you can see here, that money flow staying in the red and unable to really break above the top side of this CME gap that we made on Friday with that market open. So waiting to see if we can get some support back down here at that 32.15 and then potentially break back towards the upside. We do have that nice indication of some continued cool down for both that 4 hour and the 15-minute on SMR. This is a very nice nuclear play. I took my profits a little bit ago, back when we broke above our fib retracement, and then I'm waiting to see if we can get back down to at least that 236, where we see this giant CME gap coming into play. Do expect some continued sideways momentum on that. Let's scroll it on down. Take a look at LEU. Nah, that's the wrong one. Where was it? LEU. There we go. Talked about this one as well. Nice strong nuclear play. Not seeing any faltering too hard on this one. That 1 hour getting that curve back towards the upside after we saw that nice strong bouncing action off of the 1618. That has been a little bit of a resistance area for now, making some lower highs here and some lower lows, looking to see if we can get that break towards the top side of this flagging action. Nuclear has been my strong play on the stock side. We are still seeing that money flow in the green. We're seeing a little bit of some slowdown on the volume, but not too unexpected with all the news that's been going on. 15-minute and the morning looking like you could potentially see some more cooling down as your MACD is remaining below our zero line and really seeing that sideways momentum coming in. You've got a hidden divergence, which is not playing out too hard as your volume has started to slow down and your money flow could be breaking into some selling pressure. So not too unexpected after this massive move up for LEU. Talked about this one back in March. Nice little play on the stock side. I'm not seeing any alt requests. Anything anyone wants me to take a look at, go ahead, drop it in the chat. We can get on into that. I was taking a look at some XRP the other day. Not one of my favorite projects, but it has been respecting this old fair value gap quite nicely as it broke back into it. Let's get that scrolled back out to the 4 hour, and you can kind of see here we started to see some resistance as we got back to the top side of that old fair value gap. We rejected quite nicely off of $2.32. That's been an area that's been a resistance area over and over again for XRP. We got that nice break below that old fair value gap, saw that support at $1.90, which was also an old level we had talked about for XRP over and over again. Looking like this one is no longer in play that much, so we'll delete that one. Kind of waiting to see if we can get that continuation towards the upside just a little bit. See that resistance coming in at about $2.23. Zoom this on in, take a look at that hourly, and that hourly looking a little overheated, but like it has the potential to continue to run if you see that money flow coming on in that 15-minute, which looking like that 15-minute is getting a little bit of bouncing action off of the top side of that old fair value gap. We do have some fair value gaps printed here on that 15-minute, which would be a nice little retest area if we do see that resistance coming in at $2.24. Both the MACD here and the prime oscillator getting that curvature back towards the upside as we saw that nice quick cool down with some sideways momentum here as well. So a lot of those alts looking quite similar as things are moving sideways. We're getting that nice little cool off, and we're really waiting to see if we're going to break towards the upside with some strength, grab some of that liquidity that is to the top side, and then continue with some sideways momentum, or if we're really going to break it down and wait to see if Thursday is going to be an upside movement day. We'll kind of have to watch money flow going into today. I'm not seeing any alt requests. Thank you, Mark Dutch, for dropping that subscribe. Smash the like button. It's free. No KYCs. No additional tariffs yet. I like that one. We've got Al Jr. in the chat. Good morning to you, sir. Hope you're having a great morning so far. Let's take a look at a random alt on my list. I did see Ethereum was up quite heavily. So let's take a look at some ETH. It's been quite a while since I've taken a look at some ETH. Let's zoom this on out to that 4 hour, see what we're looking at there. We do have, looks like this fair value gap is finally closed. Let's pull that from the daily there, because I believe that's where that's pulled from. Looks like it is actually closed now. So let's make that background so we know that it's filled. We saw that nice little bouncing action off of the top side of the fair value gap, and you're getting that curvature the same way that we did on Bitcoin's MACD and Prime Oscillator. Your money flow is at that point where you could be breaking into the red here. So we will start watching that on our shorter term time frames to see if we can at least hold up this fair value gap, as we are seeing a little bit of some resistance at the lows of this sideways range here. You have the 382 on our fib extension looking like a little bit of a resistance area. We did see $2,638 coming in as some very strong resistance on the top side. Our bottom side being this $2,137 point, which is that top side of that old fair value gap. Let's zoom it on in. Take a look at the hourly here. Hourly also looking a little bit overheated, as we're looking to break to the downside of our indicator line. But that prime oscillator getting that sideways momentum here, as money flow is coming on in for Ethereum. So waiting to see if we can at least break the top side of this sideways momentum here. Let's get that marked out for you. Short-term resistance area, that's going to be $2,585, where we're seeing all of the resistance at the top side of this sideways momentum here, where we'd want to see us at least break and turn into some support. Let's zoom that on in. Take a look at the 15-minute and what the morning might be bringing our way there, and seeing a lot of sideways momentum there as well. Let's zoom this on in so you can get a little bit of a better view here. We are seeing a little bit of some resistance from the old highs here before we got that nice move back down towards our fair value gap. Waiting to see what happens with the morning. You do have that MACD and prime oscillator moving quite sideways, but you've got a bearish divergence which has started to stack up here. So we'll kind of have to see if that money flow continues to remain green here on the 15-minute. It did get that brief break into some selling pressure, but it's seeing some curvature back towards the upside. Your volume slowed down quite a bit here, at least looking to maintain some of this range here, where we've got $2,363, where you got this very equal candle bodies, and comes in about the midline of that fair value gap there that we made on the 15-minute. So if we are unable to really break towards the top side of all of this, get that move up to $2,500, I'd look back down to retest our 15-minute fair value gap and then see what we hold up from there. It is 5:24. I don't really have a whole lot more to look at for the morning, so let's wind the show on down. I appreciate every single one of you for tuning on in. Let's see, Al Jr. saying LimeWire. We can take a look at that. I know we looked at it yesterday. Lime. Which one was it on? Was it this one? Nope. Don't think so. Where was it? On Kraken? Nope. I think it was this one. Did get a nice little move towards the upside. So did get a nice little pop. So nice little action on that. It is still making lower highs though, so be careful with some LimeWire. It is back down towards those lows that we were looking at yesterday. Duality C in the house as well. Good morning to you. Thank you everyone for tuning on in. Make sure to tune in to the rest of the shows on the Piper Academy. We've got that morning market report at 10 a.m. Eastern Time. Whoa, sorry about that. Had to sneeze. We got trading with OC at 8 p.m. Eastern Time and markets after dark with Lunar Beaches Crypto at 11 p.m. Thank you for everyone tuning on in. I will see you at that morning motivational video here in a couple of minutes. I'm going to get prepped for some success on my end today. We got a long day at work, so I hope everyone has a great day. Wake up because today's going to be a good day.